keep going.
A youth sports league in Albuquerque is in hot water after an incident at one of their games.
And Andrea Vasquez shows us some people who are more than willing to fix Las Cruces bicycles.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Mendez.
And I'm Alyssa Tays, and you're watching News 22 Wednesday.
All eyes will be on Capitol Hill tomorrow as President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, and the woman who is accusing him of sexual assault will publicly testify.
Omar Jimenez is in Washington covering the latest developments and accusations.
All 10 Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee are urging President Trump to withdraw Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination or order an FBI investigation after a third accuser has come forward. In a signed affidavit, Julie Swetnick says Kavanaugh drank heavily and fondled girls at parties without their consent in the 1980s. Swetnick alleges that Kavanaugh was present at a party where she was drugged and, quote, gang raped. But she does not identify Kavanaugh as one of her alleged attackers. The Senate Judiciary Committee is now reviewing the allegations. In a statement, Kavanaugh says, quote, "This is ridiculous and from the Twilight Zone. I don't know who this is, and this never happened."
Judge Kavanaugh doesn't know her. This never happened, and he said that over and over and over again, that he never engaged in any of that behavior.
Kavanaugh is facing accusations of sexual misconduct from multiple women during the early 1980s, including Christine Blasey Ford's claim. Republicans say despite calls for a delay, tomorrow's hearing is still on.
I have a definite responsibility to hold the hearing, not only for her, but for Judge Kavanaugh.
Republican senators have called in a sex crimes prosecutor, Rachel Mitchell, to handle the questioning. Meanwhile, President Trump continued to weigh in from the United Nations Wednesday.
The Democrats are playing this game that is disgraceful. It's a disgrace to the country.
In written testimony for tomorrow's hearing, Kavanaugh says he's facing a barrage of last-minute smears. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
So it's starting to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, and I finally get to bust out the sweaters. I think all of us are excited for that.
Andres is next with your first look at weather.
Now, I know maybe fall just yet, but not time to bust out those sweaters just yet. We did have that backdoor cold front that brought in some breezier conditions. Look at this right now at this hour, 13 miles per hour winds from the east to southeast. That humidity is really up there at 46%. Dew point at 52 degrees and barometer at 30.17 inches. We did warm up today to a high of 81, which is actually below average for this time of year. We should be about 85 degrees. And then in the year 2007, we hit a high of 95. And in the year 1975, we hit a low 42 degrees. We didn't see any rain so far today, so our yearly rainfall sits at 4.65 inches. But just wait, we may see some more rain tonight. I'll detail that more coming up.
The candidates for governor of New Mexico have two very different positions on gun control. Republican Steve Pearce is a defender of the Second Amendment. He says regulations would not help with safety or stop crime. Democrat Michelle Lujan Grisham supports a ban of semi-automatic assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. An NMSU professor is weighing in on the upcoming Texas election. Government professor Thaddeus Connor says there is a lot of competition for the Texas Senate seat. This comes after Beto O'Rourke polled 2% ahead of incumbent Ted Cruz in a recent Reuters poll. Connor says that although O'Rourke has the lead, Cruz's defeat is not necessarily in the bag.
I think it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, I think, for O'Rourke, given Ted Cruz's name recognition, just establishment in Texas as a whole. That's going to be, I think, a real interesting outcome to see.
The professor says that O'Rourke seems to appeal to young voters as well as minority groups. But what really matters is if voters show up to the polls. The Texas midterm election will be held on November 6th.
New Mexico Spaceport for runway launches is asking for a 72% increase in funding from the state for the coming fiscal year. They are seeking a $700,000 increase starting July 2019 to its $976,000 annual allowance from the state general fund. Spaceport America CEO Dan Hicks is scheduled to brief state lawmakers about operations and finances for the Southern New Mexico facility today. A group that emphasizes financial accountability in state government gives New Mexico poor grade based on the state's debt burden. The group Truth in An accounting estimates New Mexico would need about $9,000 per taxpayer to pay off its bills, a debt load largely from public pension and retiree health care liabilities. The group says New Mexico ranks near the middle of the pack among states when ITV comes to debt. The group gave New Mexico a D grade because of obligations exceeded $5,000 per taxpayer as of mid-2016.
The city of Las Cruces is planning to build an indoor swimming pool with a hefty price tag. The pool has an estimated cost of $18.2 million. The pool will add nearly $500,000 in operating costs and won't meet cost recovery targets. But city staff say the benefits will be worth the cost. The city speculates the pool would increase tourism and offer health benefits. The city will take out a $10 million loan to pay for the pool. The pool has not been designed yet, but is expected to be completed in October of 2020. Are you looking for a good place to fix your bicycle and not spend too much money? Well, we have the place for you. It's called The Hub.
And as Andrea Vasquez shows us, for people who work there, it's a labor of love.
Gabe Rochelle has been bicycling for years, and his passion caused him to start the Hub Community Bike Shop. He and other volunteers repair bikes for free or a low price. They also donate bikes for the homeless and even children in Juarez.
Partly what we're hoping for here is obviously to be able to help kids stay away from bad things in life and go for the good stuff, which is cycling all the time.
Rochelle partnered with Velo Cruces to start the Hub in 2017. Volunteers give their time and energy to pay it forward and learn a new trade all at the same time.
The shop would be open more days of the week if there were more helpers. We talked to one volunteer who spends every Saturday here in the shop.
We just kind of get here and come in every weekend to get people out on the road, get people biking, and do it safely. So, I don't know, anything that we can do, I guess, promote that mission. That's kind of why we're here. All the old guys, they've been working on bikes for decades, and so they've got a lot of nice tips and tricks of the trade to teach me.
Rochelle plans to keep working in the shop and hopes it'll get bigger and more important.
It's simply a way to pay back to the community for being here. Most of us are really serious about bicycling as a means of transportation as well. And that factors into why we're doing this.
He says he'll keep repairing bikes and riding the cycle of life. And he hopes more people will get involved. With News 22, I'm Andrea Vasquez.
The Hub Community Bike Shop is open 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Saturday at 205 East Loman in the Cruces Creatives building. And it's more than a bicycle shop. There are 3D printers, a textile lab, CNC tool making machines, top-notch software, a wood shop, an electronics lab, and more.
Stay tuned. Andres will be back with your national forecast.
But first, the city of Albuquerque is dealing with the youth sports event that got way out of hand. More on that when News 22 continues.
At a recent KRWG coffee visit, we talked with KRWG fans about why they value public media.
The fact that you're here in T or C says a lot to me, that you're interested in our community.
KRWG is my major source of information and entertainment.
Please support public radio. If not for yourself, do it for me.
Become a member online at krwg.org or call 1-888-922-5794. Thank you.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Is this something you could help me with?
Freeze!
He went down like he was hit with a sack of marbles. I dreamed about flying when I was a kid.
We tell stories of the immigrant experience through food.
The best for the best, man!
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station. Sign in and start streaming today.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Wednesday,
where news matters. The weather is cooling off and flu season is right around the corner. The state of New Mexico has already recorded some flu cases. New Mexico State University is encouraging its students to get vaccinated. The flu is highly contagious and can become dangerous, especially to those with chronic health conditions like asthma. College students are less likely to get the flu but should still make an effort to get vaccinated. Flu vaccines will be available for limited time at the New Mexico Health and Wellness Center. Over 3 million people died from alcohol consumption in 2016 globally, according to a new report by the World Health Organization.
Louis Cáceres breaks down the study.
Alcohol. It's legal, it's global, and it's responsible for 1 in 20 deaths worldwide. According to the World Health Organization, more than 3 million people died from alcohol consumption in 2016. Men made up 3/4 of those deaths. Of the estimated 2.3 billion people around the world who drink alcohol, 283 million of them suffer from alcohol-related disorders. A recently published study found no amount of alcohol is good for you. Any benefits from drinking are offset by increased risks for certain cancers and diseases. This is at odds with the long-held belief that moderate drinking has health benefits. Despite members of the World Health Organization declaring the health problems associated with drinking a public health priority, the newest report predicts the number of people who drink alcohol will continue to increase over the next decade. For today's Health Minute, I'm Louis Cáceres.
A group of single mothers is suing the state of New Mexico for denying child care assistance to thousands of low-income families and of not informing families of their right to appeal. The plaintiffs contend the Children, Youth, and Families Department is illegally denying assistance to those with incomes over 150% of the federal poverty level. The agency has yet to respond to the lawsuit. A youth football team in Albuquerque has been banned after a parent body slammed a referee.
Francesca Washington has the video that's going viral and sparking outrage.
A flag on the play, then a push from a player, then a push back from a referee. Prompted this dad to cross a line that any responsible sports parent knows should never be crossed. All while 13-year-old football players looked on.
I think that's horrible. That's uncalled for.
Parents say the fight happened in the middle of a Young America Football League game on Saturday between Rio Grande and Atrisco Heritage.
Unfortunately, some people get too excited during these events and they decide to go on the field and take matters into their own hands.
As with any youth sports league, Yaffle has a code of conduct where parents pledge to control their emotions and set a good example. Yaffle sent us a statement saying someone from the Rio Grande team violated these policies, and because of that, the entire team is banned for the season. According to APD, they're being called to incidents like this more and more often.
I think nationwide you're seeing this type of behavior leaking out nationwide, not just Albuquerque.
The New Mexico Activities Association, which does not oversee Yaffle, says aggressive acts like this are scaring away referees.
It's disappointing to see something like that occur at a youth sporting event, and again, unfortunately, it's some of those things and other sportsmanship issues that are causing the shortage of officials.
And parents we spoke to also feel for the kids who are forced to see this kind of behavior.
I think that would be scary for some of the kids that would be there. They wouldn't want to play anymore.
So I wonder how the Carolinas are doing after Hurricane Florence.
Yeah, and this is next with your weather.gov national forecast.
Well, they're not doing too hot, but let's just take a look at this map first before we get right deep into that. Well, these are our highs that we saw today across the nation. A really hot spot I want to take a look at, 103 in Phoenix. We are close to October. It's next week, basically, and we're already seeing these temperatures, 82 in LA, 97 in Vegas, Salt Lake at 74, and even here in El Paso, 80 degrees. On our next map, I want to dive deep into what is currently going on in the Carolinas. They're just getting kicked while they're down, guys. They're already dealing with they're trying to pick up for what they went through a week ago, and now they're seeing another thunderstorm moving through tomorrow into tomorrow evening. They're looking at local flash flooding, damaging from these thunderstorms. So if you're driving along the 85, the 95, or the 40, take some caution. If you have any family members out there, warn them to take some shelter. Turn around, do not drown. Our next map, we're going to localize it just a little more, take an outlook of what we're going to see here for the rest of the week. Well, high pressure does return to the borderland, and we're going to see some warmer conditions here in our area. I'll let you know when our next chance of rain is going to be after the break.
Morning Edition Weekdays from 5 to 9 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
On Masterpiece.
How dare she send you things like this? I think she's trying to warn us.
Search the house! Search every room!
You deny the charge?
My conscience is clear.
The Miniaturist on Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Do I open the box?
In Texas, we had standards. You can't lynch a black person from the same tree that you lynch a brown person. You know, it just ain't fitting.
I hate being on the road. And here I am 1,000 miles from home. As disturbing as this is, I would want someone to bury me.
Thursday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back, guys. We're taking a look at our local temperatures across the beautiful state of New Mexico. I did mention we were below average, and that's because we had a backdoor cold front. You can kind of see it along the eastern portions of New Mexico, that colder air still lingering around. 55 in Clovis, 51 in Ruidoso, 60 in Roswell, 73 in Deming, and 72 here in the city of the Cruces. Tomorrow, our expected highs, we are going to bounce right back up. 84 in Socorro, 82 in Albuquerque, 76 in Santa Fe, 84 in Cruces, and 85 in Deming. We do still have a chance of some thunderstorms, 10% chance, actually 30% chance in Alamogordo tonight. 52 degrees is their expected low, 10% chance of rains early on in their morning, 83 for their expected high. Now for tomorrow, in Truth or Consequences, 55 degrees and a 10% chance of thunderstorms as well, and sunny skies at 80 degrees. Looking into Silver City up in the mountains, a little cooler, 53 degrees, their expected low, 80 for tomorrow for their high. And here in the city of the Cruces, 55 and 84 for their high. We did talk about Hurricane Florence, and we want to present you a story about that. Among the victims of Hurricane Florence, stranded animals, hundreds of them, cats, dogs, chickens, and others, were left in rough conditions. Some survived, some did not. Luke Notestein reports.
There are very few things that leave me speechless, and this left me speechless. There was just the sheer amount of animals.
This drone video shows the site off of North Carolina 130 in Robeson County, where hundreds of animals were left behind after the storm in unbearable conditions.
I've been working with animals for more than 20 years. I've been working in cruelty and doing investigations for more than 10, and I've never seen anything like this. There's a total of living and dead. There were more than 600 animals on the site.
Phil from Canine Global Rescue asked us not to use his last name in this story. He says he's still processing the things that he has seen.
Dogs tied to trees, chickens floating in water, dead horses, animals struggling to survive, taking their last breaths of air.
Volunteers from all over the country have traveled to Robeson County to help.
We had Guiding Spirit Animal Rescue out of Arizona that was here to help us. We had the U.S. Army. We had the North Carolina National Guard.
They have rescued 97 dogs, 25 horses, 1 cow, 4 peacocks, and 12 chickens.
It's deplorable, and I don't think it was a casualty from Matthew or Florence. I think it's been a casualty in the making.
Maybe there is a silver lining to this story and to the storm that has ravaged these streets.
And as bad as this hurricane was, I hate to say it, but this hurricane was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to those animals back there, because now they're safe, now they're free, and now they're not suffering.
I'm Luke Notestein, WRAL News, Robeson County.
The man behind the popularization of 3D printed guns is back in Texas after being arrested in Taiwan.
That's the first story in tonight's Southwest Minute.
Cody Wilson is accused of paying an underage girl for sex. Wilson started the company called Defense Distributed, the Austin company behind 3D printed gun designs. The company now says he has resigned after he was charged with sexual assault of a juvenile in Taiwan. The Hollywood residence of superstar Rihanna has been broken into twice in the last 6 months. The most recent break-in was last night. Police didn't say if anything was stolen, but but nobody was at home at the time. One of the singer's employees says a glass door was broken. Neighbors say they saw people leaving the scene in a car after the alarm was triggered. Back in May, an intruder spent 12 hours inside Rihanna's home after breaking in. Her heart may go on, but not her Vegas residency. Celine Dion announced after 15 years her stay at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace will end next summer. The Canadian singer says she has mixed emotions about her final run. Tickets for the final 28 performances will be on sale Friday. I'm Denise Nahera with today's Southwest Minute.
The Aggie football team is taking their first break after their win against UTEP.
But not all the Aggies get a break this weekend.
Adrian Chavez is next with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the Aggie volleyball team is getting ready for a big game tomorrow. Don't go too far because News 22 Sports is next.
Trying to remember who we are.
And action.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Next time on A Chef's Life.
All right, there's you a basket. It may even double as an umbrella.
Can't get my bangs wet.
Right.
I got some shishitos from
I
you,
know,
and they
I know.
lit me on fire. Tomorrow we are going to Lamb Stock. Lamb Stock is kind of like a party for chefs and restaurant people. I'm scared.
My dear friend Vivian Howard.
I'm trying to make the star of the pepper.
Saturday morning at 10:30 on KRWG Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Adrian Chavez, and what time is it? It's sports time. The NMSU volleyball team is getting ready for an important home stand. The Seattle University Redhawks come to Las Cruces tomorrow for a match at 6 o'clock. The Redhawks are 1-0 in the WAC and 8-6 overall. On Saturday, Grand Canyon University Antelopes will be in town for a noon match. The Lopes are 0-1 in the WAC and 7-6 overall. The Aggies come into the game 0-2 in the WAC and 10-5 overall. While the volleyball team is well into their season, the swim team is just getting started. This afternoon at the Aquatics Center, the team competed against itself in the annual Crimson and White meet. They swam in 11 different events. The Aggie return from last year is a 100-meter breaststroke and 200-meter breaststroke Western Athletic Conference champion Hannah McGowan, and 3 of the 4 members of the 400 medley relay WAC championship team in McGowan, Alex Nag, and Regan Nentonwich. The Aggies' first competition will be at home on October 5th and 6th against Liberty University. The New Mexico State University Aggie Players of the Week are Chloe Gavino of the women's tennis team and Cedric Wilcott II of the NMSU football team. Las Cruces high schools are getting ready for some big games this weekend. Tomorrow we kick off high school football with the Mayfield Oñate game at the Fields of Dreams at 7 o'clock. Friday, Carlsbad is in town to play Centennial. And Saturday, Hobbs plays Las Cruces High. This last weekend, Centennial beat Oñate 27-0 during their rivalry match at Aggie Memorial Stadium. Centennial alumni said it was a good game to watch.
I heard that my old team, Centennial High School, was playing at the Aggie Memorial Stadium. I went there for 4 years, so it's really cool to come back and see like all the new players and their new strategies. It's really cool to see them play again. Hopefully they continue to do really well so they can lead the team to victory this season.
And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Andres will be back to look at your 5-day forecast. But first, find out which breakfast food is celebrating its special day today when News 22 returns.
On the next Latino Americans.
They volunteer in record numbers.
But they come home to face another battle.
He was a genuine hero.
And yet he can't get something to eat.
On the next Latino Americans. Sunday at 5 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
On Wonders of Mexico, it's the birthplace of cowboys and home to creatures found nowhere else on the planet. Survival on the untamed frontier of the burning north on Wonders of Mexico.
Sunday at 2 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. New Mexico Spaceport is asking for a 72% increase from the state. CEO Dan Hicks talked to state lawmakers in a briefing today. They are seeking a $700,000 increase beginning in July 2019. An Albuquerque youth football team is banned after a parent body slammed a ref. The viral video has led to some outrage. Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department did not show up to the incident, but no arrests have been made. And the Hub Community Bike Shop repairs bikes for free or at low cost. They also donate bikes to children. The owners say they want to keep people riding safely.
For breakfast this morning, we hope you were able to indulge in something a little extra because it's National Pancake Day. National Pancake Day started in 2005 and is celebrated every September 26th. Also known as flapjacks or hotcakes, pancakes are one of North America's favorite breakfast foods. This summer, the restaurant chain IHOP announced they would focus on their burgers, changing their name to IHOP. After fan backlash, the restaurant went back to their original name.
I love pancakes so much.
Me too.
But let's talk weather. That's what we're here for. 5-day forecast. Well, we're going to see some sunny weather return here in the borderland. High pressure is a reason for that. Temperatures do rise up to the 90s for this weekend, so stay hydrated out there. But we do have that 20% chance of rain come by next week.
So I guess we can't wear our sweaters yet, but still, it's okay.
It is what it is. We live here in the Southwest.
And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Wednesday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Tune in tomorrow for more news across the Southwest. I'm Melissa Tejas.
I'm Stephanie Mendez.
And I'm Andres Valle. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Francisco Soto con ustedes. El sospechoso Charles Campoya, de 34 años, es acusado de asalto agravado contra un oficial. El domingo pasado, a las 3:30 de la mañana, la policía de Las Cruces acudió a un reporte de un disturbio en el hogar de Campoya. Oficiales llegaron al hogar de Campoya y lo encontraron afuera. Oficiales ordenaron a Campoya que enseñara las manos y él no obedeció. El departamento de policía nos dice que Campoya apuntó el arma hacia los oficiales y uno de los oficiales disparó hacia Campoya y nadie sufrió heridas. Campoya se encuentra bajo custodia en el centro de detención de Doña Ana sin derecho a fianza. También aquí en Las Cruces, un niño de 5 años muere después de ser atropellado por una camioneta. El incidente ocurrió el pasado viernes después de las 5 de la tarde en la calle Cambridge Drive. La investigación reveló que la camioneta pickup se dirigía al este de la calle cuando el niño de repente entró al camino cerca de los dos vehículos estacionados. El conductor de 17 años fue incapaz de detener el vehículo cuando enfrenó. El conductor cooperó con las investigaciones. El niño de 5 años fue transportado